Good morning, everyone. Today we have with us the dynamic founder of and the CEO of Consultancy Ventures. Tushar is an accomplished professional, a thought leader, and a thought influencer. He has been awarded as the best startup supporter at the IndiaFirst Tech Startup Conclave in 2022, as well as has been awarded as the Business Leader of the Year in investment management, catering to his work towards venture funding and helping startups gain funds for their growth. He has also been awarded at the Asian African Business Summit as the best business leader for the Asian African Business Summit, which was held by the Asian African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as the Entrepreneur of the Year in 2022. So the list is very long. I'll keep it short right here to talk more about the work that Tushar has been doing. He's a venture advisor with the Loyal VC. It's an INSEAD-led Canadian VC Fund, having a core portfolio of over 200 investments in more than 46 countries. His work has primarily been to mentor and to guide entrepreneurs in various universities, at various incubators, so that through his expertise in financial and business advisory services, including creation of documents, collaterals, and curriculums. He has been a speaker and mentor at entrepreneurship cells of various institutes in India, as well as the IIT, which is one, and the IIMs, which are one of the premier institutions from where some of the amazing startups find their foundation. His expert opinion has often been quoted as well as been spoken about at CNN News 18, the Venture Capital Television, Business World, Business and Economy, to name a few. He aims to help change makers accelerate their dreams by having access to venture capital, angel investment, and strategic services through his advisory services, through his consulting wing, as well as by bringing up the right investor to the startup so that it can be a marriage of two amazing partners who can actually fuel growth and create something absolutely amazing. So without much ado, I would just like to welcome Tushar. Tushar, thank you so much for finding the time and joining us for this podcast to share your views on various things about startups, entrepreneurial journeys, and everything that is core value to you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nidhi. Thank you for having me on your show. And I've heard such always such good stories from you about your own life. So, I feel very motivated, and I was looking forward to have a very healthy discussion today. And thank you for that introduction as well.
Thanks, Tushar. So coming to my first question right away, you are in a space of investment advisory, bringing in startups and VCs or funders together, right, who have the right funds and who are looking for the right startups to invest in so they can grow. And you're trying to bring the right startups by evaluating them, seeing their business model to the right VCs so that can fuel their growth, right? This is a very, very important space to be in. So I would like to ask you, what got you into this space? And what was that underserved need that you felt existed in the market that you were trying to bridge, or you were trying to bring through your consultancy services? By the way, the name is very creative.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Nidhi, I have had the typical Indian professional journey. Did my engineering, then did my MBA from University of Delhi, and then I had an entrepreneur stint, which did well initially. I made some good money. But then later on, I decided, that I have done my MBA, so I should be doing the journey of the usual. So I joined Deloitte and Touche, which is the number one financial advisory company amongst the big four. And from there, my corporate journey started. So after that, I was part of the team at Brand Capital, which is Times of India's venture arm. And then at the Russian telecom company MTS, I was heading treasury, and I raised $2.5 billion for the company in 3 years. So basically, after doing all of that, being CFO of a company which is owned by the American private equity fund Guggenheim Partners, I was exhausted because I thought, there is a limit to how many processes you can create and how many, basically the numbers on the balance sheet change. It is the number of zeros which change, the work remains the same. And I was quite exhausted in 2013. I was, I was thinking that, there were so many scams at that time. There were so many, every day you heard of scams and problems and banking problems and, so many things that I decided to do something about it. And that is when I did two things. One was I started writing a blog by the name Indus Churning. And Indus is the mother of Indian civilization. And I thought if Indus churns in us, then we all will do well for our country. And the blog went on to become like I had 2.6 million hits on the blog, 59 articles. And it was so well read that two of my friends in separate incidents, one was in a flight and the person next to him while discussing, he said, "Have you read Indus Churning?" So my friend then later on told me, "Buddy, this guy on the flight was referring your blog." So, and the same thing happened with another friend of mine. So I realized I'm doing something good for the country. And on the other hand, on the professional side, of course, we all have to make money. We all have to run our family. So I started a startup, and it was a consumer startup. It is still doing well, but I didn't enjoy that. I had thought that coming from a corporate background, things will be very smooth for me. But it doesn't work that way, because when you are having a small balance sheet and then you are wanting to keep good quality resources, you won't get them. Then you are wanting to get things easily solved by putting money in that, it won't happen. So you have to actually, an entrepreneur is like, it's like having a stone on your head and trying to run a marathon. And so, I failed spectacularly. And I lost so much of money. It was not funny at all. And on the health front also, I was taking antidepressants for many years. And all that, it spoiled my decision making also, because they kept me on a high. So I thought I couldn't go lower than that in life, but the day you think you can't go lower, you go even more lower. So people started defrauding me, taking advantage. I was in loans. My whole savings had vanished. And, I made even more mistakes on the financial front. And one day I said, enough. I just told my partner in the company, you manage the company, I'm there as an investor. I will do what I love, and I will do what I'm good at, what I'm trained at, which is finance. And all my life I had been trained in finance. I've worked in the best companies. So why not do something which you are passionate about? Why try to do something different? And on the blog front, I was getting so much of good traction. I had 100,000 tweets on my Twitter handle. And the government changed. I felt that things stabilized, and I thought now blogging is enough. Now I should pay attention to my professional life, because I needed to earn money. And by chance, at the same time, my wife, who had a 17-year-old career in investment banking, she decided to take a sabbatical. So I was in a situation, wife was no longer working, 2 kids, and a startup which had made losses, and I was deep down in debt. And I just, I said, I can't go lower than this. I just stopped everything for 3-4 months. I told my partner I'm not coming on the job again. And I just started a consultancy company called Consultancy Ventures. And I was talking to people, give me work, and I was getting a lot of work, but nobody was paying up. And people were taking my advice. I was helping everyone left, right, and center, as that's my nature. I just, anybody wants help, I just help. So after 1.5 years, my family told me, buddy, what are you doing? See, you are not earning. And whatever you might be doing, I had, MS Dhoni's company, Riti Sports, as my client. I was not making any money there. Still I was working for them. And I realized that I have to stop the antidepressants. So that is when I stopped the antidepressants. I started doing pranayam, yoga. I started reading spirituality. My sister put me in access consciousness, which was beautiful, because I stopped all the judgments about myself. I'm like that, I'm like that, I'm like that. I stopped judging. Business is like that, world is like that. And then she put me into classes for Bhagavad Gita. So, and that's when the turnaround happened. I started self-respecting myself. I started charging for my time. I started taking firm positions with clients. Buddy, I can do this. You will have to pay for it. And the day I started self-respecting my time, my efforts, and my knowledge, I started earning. And the story has been very good since 2018 or 17 end. The business has grown. It's doubled almost every year. This year was a record, and we have huge number of clients. I am also invested in 4 companies. One of them has gone on to raise money at a substantial valuation. I have taken very measured risks, because in my earlier startup, which I did, I took blind risks and I lost money. So I took measured risks, and I believe that going very slow, one step at a time, and playing on my strengths, I have stabilized my professional and personal life. And that's the whole journey about.
That was so authentically shared, and I'm so grateful to you, because to be able to share something so personal and something which is such a low, when you said the low point of your life, to be able to share that with everyone. But in sharing that, we also give courage to others who may be at that point right now in their own life, that look, it doesn't end here, or it doesn't, you can turn things around, because you are definitely an example, a real life example, who's lived through it, turned his life around with just a decision to himself that, look, I got to do things differently, and then come out, and now you're in the cream and you are doing things the way you want to. Your life is in your hands, right? You're taking control.
Nidhi, have you read Paulo Coelho? No. So he talks about destiny, that, if your intention is there, the destiny will make it happen. And Sadhguru talks the same thing. Like, if it is there in your mind, then you will create it. And I used to think my communication skill is very good. I have been doing 3 hours reading every day since school time. So my knowledge is very good. So I used to think I can do these webinars, I can do this. And I just told this to a friend. He referred me to someone. I got a webinar. And it came in the social media, and one of the seniors from college noticed it. He has a venture capital fund. He said, Tushar, I'm doing a event in Delhi University. You be a judge on that event. That came on social media.
Yeah.
I started getting offers.
Yeah.
And the journey, in the last 2.5 years, I did 200 webinars. They're all on YouTube, Google. I just didn't know how it happened. They came to me and it happened.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So that brings me to, of course, you in this also shared your challenges. So that's great. But in just the consultancy services that you have, right, in this journey, has there been, of course, you talked about that people weren't ready to pay or they are used to getting free services. So why won't they take that? You had to take hard stances and say no. Are there any other challenges that you have faced in the last 5 years of introducing the company?
Yes, I faced a lot of challenges. See, the Indian legal system is very, very bad. In terms of contract enforcement, we are ranked 153 out of 190 countries because the cases go for 9 years in court, 20 years in courts. So it's very difficult to uphold a contract. Now, what happens is that because of that, if you are signing a contract with someone, even if you did his work, if he is not paying, you are at his mercy. So, you have to literally beg for your money.
Yeah.
So, the repercussions of this is so much in the industry. People, maintain relationships. Then what they do is they hold some part of the business and then they say, you pay me the earlier part, then I will do the next part. And then they will give you a laddu. I will give you more business. You pay my earlier fee. All those things, I faced problems in 2-3 areas. But, I realized that I have to be very smart about the whole situation. I took I put a great attention to what I signed. Each word of that, I can write contracts. I am not a lawyer by education, but I have trained myself for writing these, understanding these contracts, and I really take pains to. So on that front, I did all the compliances, government compliances, GST, everything, and the other side, these webinars, which I did. So I used to get so many queries. I mean, you are getting 20 queries a day. And the thing is everybody wants to talk to you. Yeah. And when I talk, they ask so many questions and instinctively I tend to help everybody. But I have a limited time, right? End of the day, I need to convert that into business.
Yeah.
So I had to set up processes that, I will only take deals which already have a minimum viable product, which are validated, which have some revenue. And, again, it is about self-esteem and self-respect. Yeah. And if you want to help people socially in the startup ecosystem, you should help, because there are people who need help in setting up a business, understand how to set up teams. They want to understand technology, and you have it in you. So do it as a social service. Yeah. Don't think you will earn money from it. So I devoted a part of my time to mentoring such startups. And I segregated the time which I gave to them, and I segregated the business time. And
I think that's a very smart way of doing it. Like you said, there is a part of us that wants to do something for those who need it, who would benefit a lot out of our, mentoring or services, whatever, but who cannot afford to pay the fee. So yes, we can take out the time to do that, because that nurtures a certain part of our.
Yeah, I call them into my next webinars. I say, you ask any question you want in that webinar. Yes. I take great pains to explain how to solve these problems. But that is my giving back.
And now that me to our next question, which is, your wife works, you have a daughter, you mentioned, you have 2 kids and 1 daughter, and your wife has been has had her own flourishing career for a long time. Now I want to ask you, in today's society where we talk about equanimity, we talk about inclusion, we talk about women empowerment. What are your views on empowering women to be in the workforce, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it is being in the corporate, whether it is to being in the social sector, anything, right? The importance of a woman to be working and to be a part of the economic growth of their country.
Nidhi, it's a subject which is so important that, everybody of us has a mother. And we have seen how our mother has toiled, and till today she sees herself as a mother, even if I am 45 years old. The fact that God gave the responsibility of producing kids to a woman makes her special. But when it comes to professional life, it places some natural problems for the woman. So she needs time for her, she has to give time to her family. I was seeing this book by Indra Nui and her interviews, being at such a high pressure job and still trying to manage that, tomorrow your kids will say that you did not give us time. You were bothered about money. It's not easy. I have, my wife has been, she's the youngest vice president in the history of SBI Capital. She had managed all these project loans, 20,000 crore, 40,000 crore. Later on, she was heading capital markets. And then she was senior vice president, head of capital markets at Axis Capital, which is a very high pressure institution. It is known in the market that if you are working for Axis, it is very high pressure. So she used to have calls at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock. Then she used to have flights at 5 a.m. in the morning. And it was very difficult. So for me as a husband, I would say, I always try to give her maximum support. And I'm not perfect. So I try to give her support in the sense of helping out with kids, dropping them, picking them, fixing up their tuitions, and if they needed anything, then planning vacations. But having said that, for a woman, it's not easy. I mean, it's really not easy because anybody who creates a team, they always tend to think, buddy, if I can get more work from a guy, then why should I keep a woman? So, they have this natural tendency. And our board of directors, and they, not only in India, but globally, they are very attuned to thinking that, keep more guys.
Yeah, I think that myth, that's what I think this whole UN Sustainable Development Goals is aiming to change that. And like you mentioned, Indra Nui's book, right, where you read, where I think there's a conscious attempt now to change that thought process, that because it's not just the man is only meant to work and nothing. They have to also contribute to other household chores, or like you said, sharing responsibilities of children, right? Their school homework, or whether it's their tuitions, pickup job. And at the same time, I think realizing that women just are born in a way that they can multitask so beautifully. Whether it is taking care of their children, their aging parents, their in-laws,
it's mind-boggling, how they do it. I have no idea.
Remembering a friend's birthday in the middle of capital markets, mayhem that they are stuck in, but they can still do it all. And that's the beauty. And that is why I have always been, because I work with a lot of women, and my program that I launched, like you said, it was with the purpose that I wanted to convert homemakers into entrepreneurs, because I feel that there is something so unique about every woman, a skill set that they bring, that if they do not share it with the world, they're doing a disservice to themselves and the world. And also to be able to bring out the uniqueness, their potential, They have to work. It's not for the money always, but it is also for their own personal self-realization of what their true potential is. And I think husbands like you who can bring out that support to help them nurture that potential, that absolutely is such a big blessing, and we need more of that in the society. So talking about kids, tell us, all of us as parents always have these one or two core values that we absolutely want to instill in our children, right? What are these two core values that you both have instilled in your children? That, okay, it's okay if this happens, that happens, but these two are not compromisable. You must have this.
I'm a little bit different from the other parents I see all around me, because I read this beautiful article about the difference between Chinese parents and other parents. And I don't know whether it was true or not, but something from that article stuck me. It said that instead of wanting your child to be the best, you should tell your child to do his best and be happy about it. So in any case, we think in terms of, we want to build our children to be deserving of the best. And
I saved my question wrong. Sorry. What I meant was two important characteristics or qualities. And by that I meant, like, say to you, it could be that, look, never lie. Honesty is prime importance. Even if you've done the worst thing in the world, that you may have got punished, it's okay. I just want you to be honest. So honesty is something that's not compromisable. Or kindness to others, or respect for elders. Just do.
There is two which I tell my son and my daughter. One is that nobody, even if everybody around you is doing something wrong, they are against the law or against dharma or against this, you don't do it. You be very sure I won't do it. And second thing is gratitude. So always when you are in the temple or Gurudwara, always thank God that, whatever you have, thank God. And once you are in gratitude, your whole energy will be so positive that, you will do well.
Absolutely. I so agree with you. I think children today absolutely need to shift from, I would say, entitlement to enlightenment.
Absolutely.
The sense of entitlement that, and also as parents, we fuel it because we give them so much, without even them asking sometimes, because we are sometimes trying to fulfill that need that, if all the friends have, maybe even he or she should have. They may not even need it. But I think shifting them, like you said, to that place of gratitude, to always just be grateful for whatever they have, less, more, too much, that can shift their energy and that can shift their entire being in itself, who they are and what they are. So you read so much, like you said, 3 hours a day you devote in just reading books.
Yeah, it was mindless. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I used to read 3 hours a day. And in 2017, when I started my business, I said, enough. You do not want to have all the information in life. So you are currently a wealth of knowledge because of having read for so long. So I would like you to share a book that you have absolutely loved, right? And that's very core to you, that if you had a chance, you would go back to and read again. What? I have been taking classes of the Bhagavad Gita since 16 months now. The person who gives these classes online, she was director of human resources at Hewlett Packard India, and she was inspired by Gita Press Gorakhpur to do these free classes. And believe you me, it is like a diamond. It's like in short the gist of who you are, and if you just try to read it like a novel, you won't get the hang of it. I mean, it has to be done by a guru, by somebody who understands that particular shlokas and who can answer your questions. So, in 2 hours class, we do hardly 2 or 3 shlokas, because each shloka has such a great meaning behind it. And it has made me a better person. It has made me stabilized. It has made me more spiritual. And there is an element of bhakti which has come into me. So I really, when I go to Gurudwara, I go to both Gurudwaras and temples. So I go to Rakabganj and I go to ISKCON. So there is an element of bhakti which has come in. So I always, I feel very nice in between satsangs. And I have stabilized as a person. And as I told you, I took antidepressants for 7-8 years. So after leaving these antidepressants, my mind it works quite a lot, and it, I have to manage it quite well. And Bhagavad Gita has brought stability, perspective, and a lot of, calm into my life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. In fact, you say this, and just yesterday I had put a post on my Facebook newsfeed that I want to understand Bhagavad Gita more deeply. So if anyone knows of...
I'll introduce you if you want to join these classes. Definitely.
So now my last question before we close. A quotation that you find yourself using a lot with others, with kids, in your life, something that you heard from somebody or picked out from somewhere and that has stayed with you. Share that with us.
It's a very simple quotation, Nidhi. Whatever happened was good. Whatever is happening is good. And whatever will happen is also good.
That's from Bhagavad Gita.
It's straight from Bhagavad Gita. And, a friend of mine used to tell me, we used to meet in a pub here, 3-4 of us. So he used to tell me, Tushar, how are you so relaxed all the time? And I just, one day, I don't know, I gave him a reply that, see, if I was able to do something about a situation, then I will do it. No? Why will I worry? And if I'm not able to do something about a situation, then why worry?
Yeah.
So I gave him that reply, and later on I said, I really gave a very good reply. Although it's very easy to say, but it's difficult to practice. So that's, it's basically from Bhagavad Gita that everything is happening because of our past and present karmas. And it is, sometimes we can't make sense of it. Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to that person? So the thing is that if you want to go deeply into the journey of life, the meaning of life, then we have to catch hold of the supreme power, and to connect with the supreme power. And that is the element of spirituality we have to bring in our lives. I'm not saying religion, but definitely spirituality.
On that note, thank you so much, Tushar, for sharing your deepest deepest side of your personal life, for sharing about your spirituality, about how Bhagavad Gita has enlightened and guided you and continues to guide you. Thank you so much. And the amazing work you're doing with the startups, with your consultancy, with bringing together your expertise in financial advisory to help others who need that to grow to the next level, and at the same time to be in a position where they are not taken advantage of because you're there to advise. So very, very grateful for you for this amazing conversation, and wishing you all the luck and much more manifold growth in your business services as well as in your spiritual quest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Thank you for it was a great discussion with you, and you yourself a very deep person who thinks a lot and thinks about life in a very broad way. So I really loved talking to you today. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Thank you.